Have been shown to greatly increase bladder cancer, some angiosarcoma, which is a really nasty splenic tumor, and I just think that most weed killers should never be used. Some of them should be outlawed completely. If you ever use any product that tells you someplace that you can't use it, put it back, because it probably has something toxic in it. And what they really don't tell you on all these so-called weed and feed products is that most of them see every plant in the world except grass as a weed. And if you wonder why sometimes your big trees and shrubs and everything like that tends to kind of decline in vigor, a lot of times it's people using weed and feed products. Weed and feed products make oak trees much more susceptible to oak wilt, and it just causes a whole lot of problems. And if you've got creatures running around barefoot in the yard, whether it's you or the puppies or the kitties or whatever else, using weed killers, you're just... Dr. Dan Kirby, the best veterinarian I've ever known, said that when he has clients bring in animals with these usually life-ending tumors, first thing he usually asks them is, do you use weed and feed or weed killers? And he said the answer is yes, 100% of the time. Said one lady came in with a very ill dog and said, well, no, all we ever use is organic fertilizer on the yard. But then, with a little questioning, found out that her husband took the dog walking on the golf course every morning. Probably worst place in the world for weed killers. But no, long answer to short question. You can put this on anything. You can put it on your breakfast cereal if you want. I would suggest it. But, it's certainly not going to hurt anything, and I would be very cautious of anything that that does say that you can't use it some places. I'd also be careful of where you buy things. A friend of mine in the business brought me a bag of mulch purchased by one of his family members at Walmart. And in fairly small print on the bag of mulch it says, do not use around trees or shrubs. What do we use mulch for? Where else would we use mulch? But it was laced with weed killer. And the worst thing that's out there right now, in my opinion, is this mulch. We'll talk about mulches in a minute. But this one, this cocoa mulch that's made from cocoa beans, deadly to dogs. Full of theobromine, which is very, very toxic to dogs. And I can't tell you how, and there's no warning on the labels of it. I can't tell you how many cases there are out there of somebody's dog that sniffed it, liked it, ate it, and died. So stay away from cocoa mulches as well. And stay away from anything that says you can't use it on certain plants. Yes, ma'am?
What about dressing the lawn with compost?
Come to that in just a second. Yes, sir.
Okay, come to this one too. What do you do for weeds?
Exactly.
Okay, well, we can move on to weeds if you want. Another question here first.
The cocoa mulch you're talking about? Is that sold as natural, or what's going to be on the package?
It is natural, but it's deadly to dogs and has no warning on the bags. Don't use it. What's that?
Arsenic is natural.
Oh yeah, arsenic's natural, as are a lot of other bad things. Okay, so fertilize. Fertilize everything out there. Some people think I feed my grass and then you forget about the shrubs and trees and everything else. Fertilize everything. I use this grass, trees, shrubs, ground covers. I use it in my vegetable garden. I use it on flowering plants. Now on flowering plants, I also love, did we bring any of it out here? We have a product that is just anything that blooms, just makes them bloom incredibly. We call it Color Essentials. Rose Glow is what the product originally was, made by the Meister Grow people. We do several things. When we find a really outstanding product, we usually go to the people that make it and say, how could you make it better? And they'll tell us, and we'll say, well then do it, and put our name on it. We have this Natural Solutions liquid fertilizer. You know what this is? This is Has to Grow. But it has extra seaweed, extra humate, extra things added to it. So that's just sort of enhanced Has to Grow. We're going to do the same thing with this fertilizer. Probably by fall we'll have a product that's even better than this. But what it will be is basically this product that has, some extra things added to it. And so that's what we did with the Rose Glow. It was the best thing we'd ever found for blooming plants. So we asked them how to make it even better. They told us, and so we call it Color Essentials. Same price, but it's just a little bit better product. But even on flowering plants, I'll use this product once, and then I'll use the Color Essentials 2 or 3 times. Then I'll use this product one more time because I love the extra iron, the extra nitrogen that's in here. To me, that is just the backbone of any good fertilizing program. Now, Weeds. What is a weed? A weed is a plant growing somewhere that you don't like it. I had a horticulture teacher in college that said, pecan tree is a wonderful tree, but if it's growing in the spot you want a swimming pool, it is now a weed, and you're going to try to get rid of it. Weeds are Mother Nature's answer to bare ground. Mother Nature hates bare ground because the soil blows away and washes away. And if you've got a spot that doesn't have anything else growing on it, Mother Nature will probably find something to try to grow there. And if we don't like it, we'll probably call it a weed. So what is the best defense against weeds? And that is having the plant that you want, growing in that spot and strong enough and vigorous enough to outlive the weed. The best weed control device in the world is your lawnmower. If you've got weeds, you're not fertilizing enough, you're not watering enough, you're trying to grow a grass that loves sun in a shady area or vice versa. So in most cases, there is a reason for a weed growing. In many cases, it's just that your grass simply isn't strong enough to choke it out. In some cases, it is that your soil has become so hard-packed that the weeds can grow roots into it better than the grass can. One of the most common things that people don't like is clover. I don't know why, clover's kind of pretty. But clover has a root system that will practically penetrate concrete. I know your neighbor doesn't like it. Okay, clover has a root system that will practically penetrate concrete. And if you've got clover going in your yard, I mean, you can kill it. There are nice little weed killers out there that kill clover and it comes back. I'll tell you about a weed killer that'll kill it that doesn't hurt anything. But if you got clover, you can kill it, it comes back. You kill it, it comes back. You kill it, it comes back. The weed killer people love you because you're buying the same thing over and over and over. So what we have to do in that case is look at why the clover is growing there. And it's because the soil has become very compacted. If we soften the soil, the grass will outcompete the clover and the clover will go away. Malcolm Beck, I guess everybody knows who Malcolm is. Anybody not know Malcolm? Founded Gardenville. When Malcolm took over an old farm that with the soil just totally worn out from chemical fertilizers and things, soil very compacted, clover seed is moderately expensive. Well, Malcolm planted, I think it was Hubam clover, one of the good clovers, and the clover grew like this tall. And he immediately got dollar signs in his eyes because he knew how much seed he was going to harvest from that crop of clover, because he had the perfect conditions. Nothing else would grow in this hard-packed soil, and the clover just absolutely thrived. But he had a very wise soil scientist came and told him, said, Malcolm, it's the only really good clover crop you're going to make. And he, of course, didn't believe him, so he planted clover the next year. Well, the next year the clover was about this tall, because it had softened the soil, it had improved the soil to where other plants could then grow and compete with the clover. So if you're fighting clover, you can kill it. If you like killing things, you do it over and over and over again, because I promise you it's going to come back. If you want to do something to get rid of it, you soften the soil with compost tea, with this product, Medina Plus, something like that. So when you see a weed, ask yourself why the weed is there rather than just running to grab something that will kill the weed. In the case of clover, it's compacted soil. In the case of this winter grass that people call it crabgrass, I can show you about 10 different weeds people call crabgrass. But these winter grasses that grow up, in most cases it's where the lawn is a little bit thin. And that's somebody that has really thick, beautiful Bermuda or St. Augustine or any grass, and you'll virtually never see a weed in it. And the weeds that you do see, simply mow them off and they're going to die. That's dandelions and things like that, they will die off if they're mowed. Johnson grass, you keep the top mowed off Johnson grass has to grow tall. If you keep it mowed off, it will die. You don't have to do anything else to get rid of it. So in the case of weeds, look first and see why you're having the weeds and then go after them with whatever is appropriate. Usually it's fertilizer and a lawnmower. Now, if you want to use a sort of Roundup product, I use Roundup because it's such a common name. Roundup is what we call a non-selective herbicide. It kills everything you put it on. People that make it will tell you how wonderfully safe it is. My question is then, why has it been banned in Iceland? Why has it just been banned in Norway and Sweden and several other thinking countries that say you can't use it here? Well, we won't go into all the things that are wrong with Roundup, but if you want to make something that is like what I call organic Roundup, you can make it with a gallon of strong vinegar, strongest you can get, If you're buying it at the store, it's going to be pickling vinegar. If you're buying it from us, it's probably going to be 20% vinegar, which is even stronger. Add 2 ounces of orange oil to that, and then add just a squirt of dish soap.